So in this series, however many parts it may end up taking, I'm intending to explore the forgotten world beyond the highway. Alright, Friday night, and lo and behold, it is pouring with rain, set to get worse. But the burning question for the night is, a quad bike, how many wheels does it have? The bike has 2 wheels, a quad is 4, a unicycle has 1, a tricycle has 3. That means the quad bike has 6. So apparently the forecast for Sunday's really good, but we're in for about 30 mil of rain tonight, about 50 to 60 tomorrow. Very quiet night at Waverley Beach, and the rain didn't come to as much as they forecast, and neither did the wind actually, although we've got a really good sheltered spot. Well, we're all packed up and it's time to leave. A quick campsite clean-up, and unfortunately there's more, but some seriously questionable stuff that I'm not keen to pick up even with gloves on. But on with the adventure. We're in Stratford. Anywhere else would probably be slightly alarmed by the rain, but that's pretty normal here, to the point where you go about 15 minutes in either direction. It'll be beautiful sunshine because we're right under Mount Taranaki, which is pretty much behind us, which as usual you can't see because there's cloud or it's raining. That's just a quick side trip. This is the Whangamomona tunnel. It's actually the oldest tunnel in Taranaki. I won't go into too much detail. There is a video coming out through the hills, which is a bikepacking video, where I've explored all these tunnels and go into a bit more detail with them if you're a bit of a tunnel geek. But this one's got an interesting history, as a lot of them do. I weren't aware that this brickworks kiln was here that I'm just about to explore, but quite significant history along this highway, which is actually New Zealand's oldest heritage trail. So Douglas itself, which we just turned off from, the settlement began in 1890. It's the top of the Strathmore saddle, first saddle heading west to east, and on a clear day Mount Taranaki can be seen straight out there. So this is the top of the Okakurua saddle. So the second saddle by heading west to east, and where you meet Junction Road, which is a back road, really scenic route through to New Plymouth. It's actually part of the Kopiko cycle trail, and a few kilometres down Junction Road is where my Through the Hills route links in and carries on through to New Plymouth. So the Wanga campground's actually based in the old schoolhouse. Sorry, the old school grounds. This is the old schoolhouse here that's just recently been refurbished. A number of years back, it was actually gifted to the community by the Education Board, and it's become a campground. It's interesting standing here outside what was the offices of the County Council in 1909 to 1955. Whangamomona had its own council because they got annoyed with the Stratford District Council. It's quite interesting because almost a similar story of how they became a republic in 1989 when the government moved the electoral boundaries, which meant for the first time ever Whangamomona became part of the Whanganui Manawatu district, and so they declared themselves a republic, and it's been recognised ever since, celebrated every 2 years. Just slowly following the Whangamomona Road, which is an unmaintained road which you can walk, mountain bike or four-wheel drive if you want to do it with a group. Just a little bit further down this road, about 6 kilometres from memory, are 2 more of the historic Taranaki tunnels. They're still open to traffic and very picturesque. A couple of hours walk there and back, and this is actually a surveyed road that takes you through to the bridge to somewhere. Up until 1985 it was also a bridge to nowhere, hence getting its name, the bridge to somewhere, when the Department of Lands and Survey built a road through to what's now Atuia Station. So that meant that the bridge actually led to somewhere, which ironically enough is now private land. This particular road, the Whangamomona Road, was the early access into Whangamomona Township and was originally meant to provide a direct link from Reitahi to Whangamomona, which part of that went through the Marimarionga track, which I am going to be coming back to on another one of these parts of the series. So we had the mandatory dinner at the Wanga pub. Normally I don't bother going out for dinner, but Wanga pub is just one of those institutions that you've got to go to. So we're set up in Whangamomona on the cart and ready to go.
about 1924, Public Works Department arrived here and they built a town.
Originally it had its own coal-fired power station fed by one of the local mines. Over in the distance is Tangarakau. It was once home to 1,200 people. It's now home
most definitely a temperature drop when you get into these tunnels, especially the long ones. Some of these are over 1 kilometre long and go through 23 tunnels on this journey. One of them is about 1.5 kilometres.
This entire embankment through the watercourse you can see down the bottom there used to be a river and was built with fill from the tunnel around the corner.
This one, if I remember correctly, is about 1,500 metres long, about a K&a-half, and has a big curve in it, and once you're in the middle you can't see any light at all. This tunnel will be going under the Okakurua saddle, and I have pronounced that incorrectly. It's not actually on the Forgotten World Highway, but it's not far from it. It's a bit of a drive. Probably one of the steepest, windiest roads I've personally driven, and I've driven a few.
That key on too. But this tunnel here, we're only about 3 kilometres off the end of the line, tunnel 24. Okakurua saddle goes over the top of us. There must be a couple of 100 metres of mudstone on top of us. Down here they started construction heading back the way we've come about 1911, and they started digging this tunnel about the same time. Took them 8 years to do it. Through the First World War years, I guess, you know, like a bit of lack of manpower. You've seen it on the sides of the hills, that bluey grey colour. It's called papa. It's not rock, but it is very, very hard. It's in mudstone, and that's how what they've dug through all these tunnels. So pick, shovel, and blast. They had a couple of people killed in here from a blasting accident. I think probably explosives back then were a little bit more unpredictable than what they are today. So there's a couple of guys killed. Biggest killer on the line, stuff like pneumonia and stuff like that. Just living in that damp conditions. Winter around here is pretty damp and foggy. You get fog outside, and it's foggy in here as well. All these recesses that we've been coming past, all the tunnels have got them, they're about 100 metres apart. This one here, number 8's by far the biggest on the line. I guess they could have stored a lot of gear in here, but you've got people working in here, rail gangers, you've got signals lines coming through, you've got signals people working in here. You've still got trains coming through, and that's basically somebody to get the hell out of the way. I feel like a little lights out. There you go. There you can see it's just total black, and you can't see the fingers on your hand. So after a bit over 2 hours on the bus, we are back in Whangamomona, back to the offender, and time to make our way back home. Probably can't see. There are some stars out, which is quite nice. So, on the road.